So Lyft's calling 2025 their big comeback year. It's a pretty bold claim, right? Well, today we're going to dive straight into their latest shareholder letter to see if the numbers actually back that up. We'll look at their strategy, what's coming next. Let's get into it. Okay, so right off the bat, we've got this quote from the CEO, David Risher. He's not mincing words. He's calling 2025 an incredible year in Lyft's comeback story. I mean, that's exactly the kind of thing you say to get investors excited. But the real question is, do the numbers tell the same story? Let's find out. All right, first up, the big one. $18.5 billion. That's the total gross bookings for 2025. You know, the value of every single ride taken on their platform. It's a massive number, for sure, shows you their scale. But honestly, it's not even the most important number in this comeback story. This is the number that really caught my eye, $1.1 billion. And what is that? It's their free cash flow, and it's an all-time high. Now, if you're talking about a comeback, this is absolutely critical. It means they're not just busy, they're actually generating cash. It's a sign of a really healthy, sustainable business. Okay, so those two numbers give us a pretty good sense of the scale of this comeback. Now, let's zoom in a bit and look at the full 2025 scorecard to see what a record-breaking year really looks like for them. All right, here's the full year breakdown. So remember that $18.5 billion in gross bookings? Turns out, that's up a really solid 15% year over year. But here's the part I love. Look at the actual usage. A record 51.3 million people took almost 946 million rides. That tells you this comeback wasn't just some numbers game on a spreadsheet. It was really happening out on the streets. Look, a great year is one thing. But if you're an investor, you're always thinking about what's next. You want to know, how did you finish the year? What's the momentum like? Because that's what really matters. So let's zoom in on Q4 and see how they close things out. And wow, the signal is strong. In just the last quarter, Lyft hit a new record, 29.2 million active riders. And get this, that's not just a little bump. It's an 18% jump from the year before. That's a huge deal because it shows their growth was actually speeding up as the year ended. And you know, that explosion in riders just fueled everything else. I mean, think about it. In just those last 3 months, you've got people taking over 243 million trips. That pushed their Q4 gross bookings to $5.1 billion, which grew at 19%. That's even faster than the rest of the year. But here's the kicker, the stat that tells you this is real. It was their 11th consecutive quarter of double-digit ride growth. This isn't a fluke. It's a pattern of sustained acceleration. So, okay, the numbers are clearly impressive, no doubt about it. But the big question is, how? How did they pull this off? Let's pop the hood on this growth engine and see what strategies were really powering this comeback. Well, when you boil it all down, it really comes down to two big things. First, they got creative with their product to pull in new types of customers. And second, they've been building out some really powerful partnerships. Let's dig into that first one, product innovation. So the core idea behind their strategy is actually pretty simple. They're trying to move beyond just being, the app you open when you're going out on a Friday night. They're aiming to become a real transportation network that you can use for all kinds of different things. And a perfect example of this is the launch of Lyft Teen. I mean, think about it. They looked at the data and saw this massive, untapped market, 15 billion rides a year just for teenagers in the US. So they built a special product just for them with extra safety features. It's a brilliant way to reach a whole new audience. And it fits perfectly with their other stuff like services for seniors or rides where you can bring your pet. They're really trying to build something for the whole family. Okay, that brings us to the second pillar of their growth, strategic partnerships. The thinking here is, why try to do everything ourselves? Instead, Lyft is plugging its service into other big brands, creating this whole ecosystem that just brings more and more people into their worlds. And the results are huge. Seriously, in the fourth quarter, more than 1 out of every 4 rides on Lyft came through a partner. Think about that. Their deal with DoorDash, rides from that partnership almost tripled in Q4 alone. And their integration with United Airlines, they had hundreds of thousands of people link their accounts in just the first few weeks. So yeah, these partnerships aren't just for show. They're not just logos on a webpage. They are absolutely core drivers of the business. Okay, so that's the story of 2025. The big numbers, the strategy behind it all, pretty impressive. But now for the big question, what's next? Let's look ahead and see what all this momentum means for their 2026 outlook and beyond. So here's the official guidance from Lyft for the start of 2026. They're telling the market they expect gross bookings to grow another 17 to 20% year over year. That's a pretty clear signal, right? They're confident that the awesome momentum they built in 2025 is going to keep rolling right into the new year. And when they look even further out, past just the next quarter, the CEO is pointing to the next big thing in tech. He's actually calling 2026 the year of the AV, which signals a huge push into autonomous vehicles, both here in the US and overseas. It's like we're getting a sneak peek at the next chapter of their story. And all of this, the 2025 results, the 2026 guidance, it all feeds into their bigger long-term plan. You can see it laid out right here on this roadmap. The 2025 performance is a really crucial milestone on their way to their 2027 targets. And those targets are pretty ambitious. We're talking around $25 billion in gross bookings and $1 billion in adjusted EBITDA. And according to Lyft, they are right on track to hit them. So there you have it. From a record-smashing 2025 to a really ambitious road ahead, that's the comeback story Lyft is telling in their latest shareholder letter. And hey, just a quick reminder, this explainer is purely for educational purposes and is definitely not financial advice. Thanks so much for tuning in.